morning, I'm Faye Thompson. This morning I got a special guest. It's my grandson from Little Rock, and he's here going to do a video for us on some spaghetti. It takes about all day to make it, so this is some of the things that he's going to have in it. Kent, we're so proud to have you here today.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. So today we're going to be making my work from home pasta Bolognese. And I call it that because I started making this during the pandemic because I'm working from home, and it's a recipe that you pretty much need to be at home all day to make. It doesn't take a lot of input, but you have to kind of make sure you don't burn the house down. So it's something you have to stay with all day. We're going to be cooking this dish in about a 7.5 quart cast iron Dutch oven. At my house, I use just a cheap Lodge, but since we're at Mama's house, we're going to be using the Le Creuset. We're going to start with our mirepoix. We're going to have the celery, onion, and carrot, and we will sweat this in 6 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to peel my carrots. We're going to add 6 tablespoons of butter to the pot. Then we're going to dice all of our vegetables. I do not have the best knife skills, so hopefully I don't lose a finger. I like to do the rough chop on these because I like to see my vegetables. A lot of people like to shred them so they kind of just disappear in the sauce. I like to know they're there. And I can say it's rustic. Next we're going to dice the celery. And I kind of do the celery like I do the carrots. Cut it in manageable pieces and then dice it up. And finally, we're going to add the onion. Leave the root end and then cut through it and then dice it that way. So we're going to cut through the center. Depending on how big the onion is, sometimes I cut through a couple times. These are kind of small, medium onions. And then cut towards the end. Cut on the like this, and it's already diced. So over medium heat, you begin to saute until the onions get sort of transparent and everything's soft. And this takes about 6 to 10 minutes.
It looks good.
Well, this is what the French call mirepoix, and it is onions and celery and carrots. Yeah. And it's sort of like the Cajun Trinity, except instead of green bell pepper, you have carrots. This is pasta Bolognese, but people will argue what Bolognese really is, so I just call it my work from home spaghetti.
Oh, great. You know, I need to tell you something. I have 2 children, and I have 5 grandchildren. My son has 2 children, my daughter has 3, but this is my son's oldest child. He was the one that was on the farm with us more than anybody. He kind of grew up riding in the pickup truck with his granddaddy and his father, and he picked up some of the foreign language when he's little. We didn't think too much.
Where's this going, Mama? Where's this going?
We had to watch him some, but he was cute. He would stay in the office with me some, and he'd ride around in the trucks. And he got a good farming experience, didn't he, Kit? Mm-hmm. I
was told I could never be a farmer by multiple people, including you, I think.
Well, tell them about what do you do?
I'm a biostatistician at the Arkansas Foundation for Medical Care, so I do medical stats.
Yeah.
All right, Mama, now we're going to add our meat. So we're going to add around 1 pound of ground pork and ground beef. So I like to mix it up. A lot of people use, I know on America's Test Kitchen, they use what they call meatloaf mix, which is pork, beef, and veal. You can add a teaspoon of salt. So I like to break this up, and you just want it to kind of lose the raw color. I don't know. I've seen different things. Some people like to brown it. Some people like to add everything when it's still raw because they say it keeps the meat soft. I cook this all day, so what I do is once I get the kids dropped off at school, I come home and I start dicing my vegetables. Usually the night before I'll dice the vegetables and put it in the fridge, and then I'll start cooking it as soon as I drop the kids off, and then once I get to this stage, I'll usually hop on a meeting at work once all this gets browned, and then throughout the day I'll just cook it, and then by the time everybody gets home, it's all done. So usually I'll start cooking about 8 in the morning, and it's done by about 6:30 at night when I get done with going to the gym and everything. So.
You mean it cooks that long?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you cook it, on a slow cooker or something?
No, I cook it over the stove on low.
You must have it awfully low.
It's on as low as it gets.
Okay.
And I have good insurance on my house too, so when it burns down I can just get a new one. But I make this about once a week. I don't like it in a slow cooker though, because it has to evaporate. That's kind of it has to sit there and boil off a lot of that liquid.
Well, it doesn't have much liquid in it.
I hadn't added the liquid yet.
What do you add to it?
We're gonna add some milk and we're gonna add some wine.
What kind of wine do you use?
The finest boxed wine they had at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be added second, and then the milk will be added next. But I like these little boxes of wine because this.
Well, you know, I've never seen that before, Ken.
Yeah,
That's great.
You know, they say you should never add any wine to food that you wouldn't drink, but I hadn't found wine I won't drink yet, so I never had that problem.
I might tell you too that Kent belongs to a club in Little Rock. He lives in Little Rock, and they make beer at home, and they make it. I don't know, do restaurants still have breweries now?
Yeah, they do. I've brewed at most of the breweries in Little Rock, so.
They have contests at the breweries, and these young men will go down and
women.
The beer they make at home, and they judge to see who's got the best beer. Ken wins a lot. So
I do. And
he's a good beer maker. I told him one time that's what all I've dreamed about, having a grandson making beer.
That's exactly.
I think it takes a lot of basic education in chemistry to do a lot of that, doesn't it?
You have to be clean too. It takes having a little bit of OCD. You can see the meat's kind of losing a lot of its pink color.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you get the recipe?
It started as America's Test Kitchen recipe, but like I said, a lot of their recipes have ingredients that we can't find around here, even though they try to find universal ingredients.
Yeah.
The portions don't make sense for when you're buying it, because it uses like, I think 0.75 pounds of meat, and you know, I don't buy 0.75 pounds of meat, so I started doing it with a pound of pork, a pound of beef, and doubling the recipe. Mm-hmm. And I like more vegetables than they used to, and I like to be able to just use this whole box of wine, which is 2 cups.
Kid also does a lot of good barbecue. He has you still have the green egg?
I have a green egg.
And he has it hooked to the computer, and he'd have to tell you what he does with it. I don't know. And he and a friend entered a barbecue contest in Little Rock. They won their grand champion, and I thought that was really good. They're kind of new at that. They don't do that much.
We're going to add 2 cups of milk. This is just whole milk.
I never heard of spaghetti having milk in it before.
They actually don't do this in Italy, adding cream to the sauce when they're first doing it. They'll cook it without the cream, and then they'll eat on it for 3 days or so, and then towards the end of the life of that sauce, they'll add cream to it to richen it up a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to evaporate all the liquid off, and that takes about 30 minutes. And then we'll come back and we'll add the wine and let that evaporate off, and then we'll add our tomatoes, and that's when we let it go all day.
Do you have to turn it up to make it evaporate?
No, I leave it on medium. I think it's on like a medium right now. Gotta have patience for this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I let it sit here all day. All right, and next we're gonna add the white wine. So this is just boxed Chardonnay. It's 500 milliliters, which is just like 2.1 cups, and the recipe calls for 2 cups. So we're just gonna add the whole box.
Now you've added milk already.
We've added milk already. Now we're adding the white wine, and we're gonna let this go for about 30 minutes until a lot of it evaporates.
Now that's all the liquid you add, is that right?
Then we're going to add the tomatoes next.
Oh, tomatoes, okay.
And finally, we're going to add 2 28-ounce cans of diced tomatoes.
Now this is the last thing we add, Kent.
We'll add a little salt and pepper maybe at the end to taste,
okay.
but this is the last major addition. So we'll get these in here, and then this is at the point where we just kind of let it go and simmer all day. We want it to simmer as low as possible.
But I don't think I ever cooked anything that long on top of the stove. But it looks good.
It's starting to look good, but it starts to look a lot better. It thickens up and gets a lot more. And now we're going to add some salt and pepper to taste. And now it is almost done. And now we're going to add the fettuccine to the salted boiling water and let it cook for about 12 minutes. This pasta water was pre-salted with about a tablespoon or 2 of salt. Okay, Google, set timer for 12 minutes.
All right, 12 minutes, starting now.
We have Alexa at our house, so it's weird. I feel like I'm cheating. Okay, and now we have finished cooking our sauce. This has been going for about 8 hours now. It's almost 6 o'clock at night. And as you can see, now the sauce is reduced down. And tonight we're going to serve this with fettuccine, but you can serve it with spaghetti, or you can even use this sauce in a lasagna, anything you want to. So it's done and ready to go.
It looks delicious, and I'm looking forward to tasting of this. We hope you try this recipe, and we hope you enjoy it as much as Kent's family does, and I know I'm going to enjoy it. And I hope you watch us on another family video. Thank you for watching.